the Lakers Nation Philippines podcast episode number 12, I do believe. And before going into Summer League, I mentioned to you guys I overdosed on like Lonzo Ball research, both on articles, UCLA, YouTube videos, blah, blah, blah. And I said I had faith in Lonzo Ball now and in the decision with Lonzo Ball. Which, that was a big risk opinion on my end. But it seems like it's such a successful pick, don't you guys think, as far as for watching Lonzo in the Summer League?
Yes, and to see the draw that he was bringing, it was just so incredible to watch. Like, just to see like how many people are in attendance. I mean, we spoke about it last podcast on the Lakers Nation. How many people were like coming out to see this, and I think it could bring a draw, which would be exciting and like very hopeful for Laker fans in the next couple seasons.
And you saw the drop off too, the drop off of interest when he didn't play the championship game.
Yeah.
Even though I still watched, I still wanted to see how the other players were, but it was significant that people weren't really paying attention. Even the host was kind of saying that too, where they're, I forgot who the commenters were, but it just seemed like, oh, okay, Lonzo's not playing. I'm just kind of halfway here.
Yeah, they kind of went on Bill Walton mode, right?
Yeah.
They just started going, well, in the 60s or San Diego, so they kind of like drifted. That's a good observation. Also, you could see the seats not filled on some of the wide camera shots. So it was kind of obvious that like, okay, well, Lonzo's not playing. I think a lot of people didn't even anticipate I didn't anticipate the lack of attendees. Go figure, because it's a championship game, right? Mm-hmm. So
it's also on a Monday, though, right? Was it Monday?
I don't remember. I'm a little skewed because I'm watching
the time.
Yeah, time zone in different continents. So,
yeah.
I don't know if you guys were concerned, but I was regarding Josh Hart. We didn't really see him play that much, so I don't know what that means. Was he whack? No. Is he any good? Is it kind of like one of those Brandon Ingrams? You know what? We know he's steady, so you almost got injured. So, though Josh Hart didn't get injured, but did that concern you guys? Because I thought Josh Hart was a good pickup.
Do you mind repeating that part? Because some audio is playing over it on accident.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear it. So I was concerned about Josh Hart because he didn't get that much playing time. Do you guys think it's the same case of Brandon Ingram, where it's like, okay, we've seen one or two games from you, that's it. We'll just prep you during the preseason games and preseason prep.
Yeah, and plus I think they didn't take into account of how well Vanderbilt was going to play. Vanderbilt was a dude that really stepped up and helped the Lakers out. This, especially during Lonzo's absence in the championship game, he really stepped up in that game, and I think Vanderbilt can also be another person that's additional to the roster. So with the exception of Hart not playing, I would say like you have a loaded backcourt filled with young talent in the Lakers right now.
Caruso also played really well.
Yeah.
And he was also playing scrappy. I think he showed that he could play defense. I mean, especially during the summer league, and probably outshine Hart a little bit. But I'm not really too concerned about it. I never really, though Hart is a good prospect. I never really expected too much from him because he's playing in that guard position, and there's just so much competition there.
Yeah, pre-summer league, when I'm watching YouTube highlights,
yeah,
Josh Hart had way better highlights than Kuzma. So I'm scared that he might Anthony Brown on us. And what I mean is, pre-summer league and preseason, you have the stats, you have the experience, and he played I think the full 4 years with Villanova, or at minimum 3 years. So I was a little worried because, like, I don't want this to be another Anthony Brown. I thought Josh Hart, with him being, I guess, the most senior out of all the Summer League players, you could depend on him to go, you know what, Josh, we don't have a backup point guard, so maybe you can be mature enough to think like a point guard till we sign one, you know? And I'm a little shocked because last week, or last recording, you guys weren't, or both of you guys, I thought, weren't that high on Caruso, and I was high on him, and I said, all right, these fucking guys have, like, balding backup point guard prejudice. But it seems like you guys opened up to him, or at least you did, Jay.
Yeah, I know he had a great game, and I definitely acknowledge that he played well during the Summer League, especially I think that was the third game where he went off.
Yep.
I just, I really don't think in the regular season time he's going to be that much of a factor. In fact, even Josh Hart might overtake him. I think maybe just based on, the athleticism and whatnot. I just, I think those guys are going to be on the development side, and they're going to be in and out of, D League and the lineup. So, I honestly, I mean, there is definitely potential, and Caruso kind of has that, he just kind of has that kind of veteran kind of mentality because I guess maybe the pace that he plays at. Well, but I'm still on the watch and see, and let's just see what he can do because I don't really expect that much from him.
Zach, any thoughts on Caruso, Josh Hart?
I thought he did well in the Summer League, but again, I have to say Vanderbilt is the person that I would choose over him because when I look at how the Lakers were doing this Summer League, it was very interesting to see not just like how many players were on this team that they could all move on and play potentially with the Lakers in the regular season, but to see how they all meshed together in different units. Like Kuzma could play with anyone at the guard, and then Caruso was the same way, and he took me by surprise. But do I still think he's one of the better surprises? Definitely not.
Yeah, perhaps, not perhaps, I failed in my like for Caruso. I like him as a third string guard, not as a backup. I mean, yes, a backup, but third string. Like it feels
backup
like
to the backup.
Right. It feels like he's a guy that you can tell him to execute plan A and he's going to do it. And he reminds me a lot of like Maryland Steve Blake, huh? Just scrappy, can shoot the three and just listens.
Yes.
Isn't that kind of
like Huertas?
Sure, without the bow tie and the unicycle fucking dumb plays. Like Huertas, it feels like sometimes there's clown music. Here's my pass. Oops, I made a mistake.
Right.
But with and Caruso, for some reason, he reminds me like that ball boy for the Lakers who's been trying to be in the league and now he's balding because of the stress. And now he's so happy that he's in the league or going to be in the league. I think he has the first two-way contract. I've never heard of that, ever. Two-way contract where he can be assigned to the G League and also kind of like be assigned to another G League team and or signed by another team. So it's weird.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a weird.
That's heart.
Yeah.
Definitely like, desire and, willingness to stick it out. That's good for him.
Yeah. For the Philippine listening audience, I'm going to make a statement in regards to the Summer League. And I know Jay and another friend, Jay Veray, have been to the Summer League. My experience with the Summer League is I've seen Gennaro Pargo and who is the three-point shooter we had during the Shaq Malone, Gary Payton, Kareem Rush.
Yeah.
All right. I seen these two guys tear it up in the Summer League. And then when it came time to play in the league, granted you're around Shaq, Malone, Kobe, D-Fish, Gary Payton, they kind of waned. In this case, The way I would like to use the summer league for the listening audience in Manila in the Philippines is what we call in America, when you buy used cars, there's a thing called the Carfax. And at minimum, you use the Carfax just to check at least this car is drivable. It's not what you choose to buy a car and go, okay, I'm resolved. I'm going to buy this car. So with the summer league, all you should feel, and feel free guys to be contrary to my opinion, because I could be very wrong. You use the summer league to see if they're competent for the G League and incoming rookie style of play. And if you can listen to coaches. That's it. So I don't know how you guys feel about that statement where it's kind of like a Carfax or like a player trial to see how good you are in comprehension.
I agree with that more like because I know some people are like kind of getting high horsed right now with how well Lonzo did during the summer league, and they're already comparing that to the NBA. And I'm just like, that's too big of a jump. That is way too big of a jump. Obviously, Lonzo can make the easier transition from summer league going on from college, but that's like he's going to be battling in the toughest position that we've ever seen in however many years the NBA has been around.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is his position. All the stars are, either point guards or they're ball handlers. And, that's who he's matching up against. So I think maybe we have to kind of keep that in perspective. But I would like to, just kind of say like how it's still also a good thing. I mean, I agree with you, Charles. I mean, this is the time to see how players react, not only to competition, but also to how coachable they are, and how they run the offense. But again, there have been successful players in the summer league. I think Damian Lillard had a great summer league, and that's what caused a lot of momentum for him coming in as not even that high of a pick, but more so like, oh, this guy is the real deal. So I mean, who knows how Lonzo will play in the regular season or even the preseason, but it's a great start, and some of the other rookies too. You mentioned Kuzma and even Vanderblue.
Yeah, I think to ride on Zach's point, what I like about Vanderblue is there's effort. He's trying to earn a job. That's what it looks like. And then Josh Hart had that, oh, dude, I'm light-skinned, dude. Girls will jock me anyways. Look at my hair. Look at my hair. I'm 6'5". I can visit your Latin mom, and she'll be like, okay, well, he's brown.
Sounds Latin enough.
Yeah, he's like Italian ex-gangster's son. The runt of the Italian ex-gangster son. You were going to say something, Jay. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that the Vanderblue, he played well. He definitely needed his scoring. I don't see very much else from him.
Great point.
I think he's definitely aggressive on the offensive side. I think he's a little out of control. So it'd be interesting to see how he fits into the scheme of things. But again, you just have that backcourt, and it's so competitive, and you're already, not only with the politics as it is, but just the talent wise, it's so heavy in the backcourt. So, let's see if he steps up. I think he's a definite, like, at least a G League, D League player. And
reigning NBA D League MVP.
Yep.
Yeah.
Goes to show how big a gap is, huh? From like, okay, you were last year's G League MVP, but now we got an MVP for the Summer League, and look how far you got outshined, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, man.
So, what do you guys think about Kuzma? He shot well. I didn't get. I think to my failure of observation and being a hype beast consumer, I didn't get to pay attention to his defense. So how do you guys feel about Kuzma? Great shooter, obviously, on the three, but defense-wise, I didn't get to pay attention.
I mean, he was on the defensive side. I think he was playing a lot more on the perimeter. I think the potential's there just because of his length, his athletic ability, and I mean, when I was seeing him, I was, as long as he works on his strength and explosiveness, I saw him as, at first I saw him as like, a potential Tayshaun Prince kind of player, and just kind of multifaceted, and but now I think he could be even maybe better, or just at least if he gets more physical. I mean, Randall needs to step it up just because of he can shoot the long ball.
Yeah, no, I agree with Jay, because Kuzma, he didn't really necessarily impress me with his defense, but I think it's like average for what it was. And plus, it's summer league, so I don't think they were really trying as hard as the scouts or maybe the coaches and general managers would have liked to have had them do it. But Kuzma really certainly impressed me on the offensive end.
I think it's a three-way sweep. I was watching a lot of Houston Rockets' first 3 years of Robert Horry.
Good one.
He reminds me a lot of the first 3 years of Robert Horry, except Robert Horry drove to the basket and cut really hard to the basket. But in this case, Kuzma cut to the basket off an offensive rebound, the best.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be a good pickup. So since, Jay, I'm going to hop on your Randall train. I have a theory that Randall is going to be showcased, especially with all the Drew League video that's coming out. Looks like he developed like an 8 to 12 foot Dirk Nowitzki fadeaway. I just don't think Randall's going to be paid 12 to 16 million because the Lakers are trying to get two superstar / all-star players. Do you guys? I don't think he's going to be with the Lakers either by the summer, next summer, or by the trade deadline. Well, what are your thoughts about trading him, and do you guys think he's still going to be with the Lakers?
I definitely don't think he's going to be with the Lakers, and if he does decide to go, then good. More cap space for the oncoming superstars that are coming next year.
I don't know, man. I'm really a big fan of Randall in the sense of his potential, and just seeing him play defense. He's strong down low, and he physically he's ready. I mean, maybe not as talented as offensively as Kuzma or some of the other players, but if they want to trade Kyrie Irving for Randall and James, that's all right.
I was gonna say though, mentally though, he is weak, and I know like whenever they brought up D'Angelo and his immaturity, like not too far away was Julius Randle, and I remember like every time I think of Julius Randle, the imprint that I always have in my mind is how he was always treated by Byron Scott.
So you think it's okay? Maybe a complex 1A 1B question to you, Zach. Do you think Randle can still change and shake off that Byron Scott, let's pass the ball to Kobe upbringing his first 2 years? That's the first question.
I don't think so, because there's something about Randall where it's just like he came in around the time where Kobe was leaving the door and he was expecting to be a part of the torch, the passing of the torch. So like, if anything happens, he has to realize that he's not going to be the superstar. He's not going to bring the championship around to LA because he won't be the source. Like, he could probably be a role player, but other than that, I don't see him going past the expectations of maybe 10 rebounds and like maybe 10 points a game.
Jay, your thoughts about shaking?
Yeah, I mean, I can. It's a tough thing because I always felt like he needs. It's hard for him to fit, and especially in today's game, He's a great rebounder. I think if he wanted to focus on that and then, just pick his spots, and, on the offensive side at least, just kind of pick his spots, but focus really more so on the defensive end and also just being able to maybe outrun some of the bigs that he's guarding in transition. I think he'd be fine, but, I agree with you. I think that he's going to be showcased to move. And, Magic's actually been really kind of, very, he always puts that positive spin on it. And it's kind of like, well, we're trying to get you paid too, and make Randall feel good about, doing a good job so that it'd be easier for him to be moved.
I'm starting to think Magic is the best poker playing GM because he'll take pictures with D'Angelo Russell during the combine, compliment Russell as a player, and then just kind of do a slight. We just need to wait for him to mature a little bit, And then with Randall, I think the biggest savior, and I am totally guilty of being hopping this nouveau train of NBA. If Randall developed a 3. If that guy developed a 3, it could change my mind about Randall. But the thing is, he's in such a bad circumstance because what if you get to sign Paul George and LeBron? Bye-bye Randall.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be bye-bye Randall. Or let's just say maybe Westbrook and Paul George. Bye-bye Randall. So before we get into the trade scenarios, I think that's it. That's what's going to happen to Randall. And it's too bad because I feel like he's now understanding how to utilize or to control what he has as far as for brute strength and capability. Because I'm just watching that Drew League stuff, and it's like, wow, dude, those 4 or 5 fadeaway post-up plays, that look pretty dope.
Yeah, and he's only going to be 23 by the time the season starts, which means he's still, like, for how long he's been around, I think he still has so much rawness to him to the, like, untapped to that potential.
Yeah, don't you guys think? Oh, sorry, Jay, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's really his style of play. I mean, I think he's just, kind of to your point, Charles, he's just kind of finding his footing. And he's he's starting to understand where he fits in on the floor and how to get the to the spot that he wants. And I would be interesting to see how he meshes with Lonzo. If there is that focus of having that favorite. I mean, right now actually it's the light skin connection with Kuzma, so it's hard to beat that. But if Randall gets the opportunity and he meshes well, especially with the easy buckets down low, you never know how things might turn.
So let's see if it's a clean sweep. I think Randall is traded. You too?
By trade deadline, yes.
Okay. For me, it's either trade deadline or next summer.
Yeah, I mean, I think unless it's a big player, I don't think they're gonna move him. They might just do like a sign and trade in the summertime.
Okay. So what do we do with Luol Deng? I belong to the camp. You play him 48 minutes and have him get injured. You play this motherfucker 48 minutes, you get injured, or you don't play this guy at all. But, dude, it's still 3 years. You got to show that he's competent so you can add him with a package like Julius Randle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by the time, let's say, come trade deadline hits or the summer, you can just tell him, like, look, dude, you have a veteran for 2 years. We took on 2 years. Or if it's by February, look, it's 2.5 years. The season's almost done. And we'll give you Julius Randle. But you know what I'm saying?
It's like Deng and pick any 2 players, not Ingram or Ball.
Right. Agreed. Well, what would you do with Dang right now? Is it a showcase thing, or do you not play him? What are your thoughts, guys?
I feel as if with Dang, it's kind of like he's the wingman on a date. So, like, if you're Magic Johnson, you'd be like, hey, man, like, this is what I got. You know, I got the Randall. I got this. I got that. And then the girl is like, well, do you have a friend for my friend? And you're like, yeah. You see, I got this homie named Dang. And, you know, it's been a while. He's kind of a virgin, you know what I mean? But it's just like once you ease him into it, he's very like easygoing and shit. Like, you're gonna try to have to like sell him out like with all the other product that you're selling, you know?
He's got a head wrap. He's from Sudan, so his English no good. He's tall though, and he has a nice house.
He can dance pretty good.
Right.
Yeah,
Killer with a blow dart. Sorry.
Man, you got to play him. I think at least a little bit and see how, you know, the pace is going to be a problem, I think, for him. But I think, you know, if you go small lineup, he's perfect. Maybe just as a rebounder or like a trailing three, you know, just to fill in for Brook Lopez. I don't know. I don't know how else he fits, though, honestly, because he just kind of plays a little slow, and he just has too many miles on those knees. So, you know, hopefully they can showcase him and make him tradable.
Yeah. I just think that at least we only have one albatross contract. Like this contract with Dang, looking at the New York Knicks and how they have like
Joakim Noah.
Joakim Noah, yes. That feels hectic for like half a decade. Where this one, I feel, you know, at least towards next year, it's only 2 years. You know? But in our notes, I gave a couple of scenarios for trades, and ironically, one that's the most unreasonable financially, Luol Deng, Julius Randle for Booker from Brooklyn. Would you guys pull that to clear cap space?
You're just pretty much making Brooklyn the Lakers junior squad.
Dude, Jeremy Lin, former Laker. D'Angelo Russell, former Laker. Then you got Dang and Randall and Mozgov.
The starting five next year will be all former Lakers.
Right. Well, would you guys pull that off to clear cap space?
I mean, yeah, I would, but will the Nets take it?
Well, where there's dumb, there's dumber. I don't know if they'll take it, but dude, if Julius Randle balls out, I think they would.
Yeah.
And that owner has money. That I should say it like this. That owner has careless money.
Yeah. Is it still the Russian guy?
No.
No.
He sold, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's fucking with Putin, trying to do deals with fucking Trump now.
Yeah, I would do it if they were gonna take it. I mean, that's kind of a heartbeat move, especially knowing what could potentially be next summer. So yeah, I think, you know, you gotta move. If anybody's putting out some kind of indication of, you know, short-term deals in exchange for Dang and potential one of the young players, I think you gotta do it, man. Pull the trigger.
Okay. Here's the second trade scenario for Randall, and this is also dreamy, okay? But this is for an actual player. Jordan Clarkson, Julius Randle, and Kuzma for Anthony Davis. Dunzo, right?
Let's think about that for a little
Dunzo, right?
bit. Yeah, man. I think you could say that maybe even for and I'm not big on it, but for Boogie, shit.
Yeah, but don't you guys think? Okay, I'll be realistic, Charles. Now, if you're New Orleans, you'd rather keep Davis over Buggs, right?
Yeah,
Of course. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that's just me revealing how fucking terrible a person I am and how homeristic. Okay. How about this one? Because if we, let's say, trade Deng and Randall for Booker, that's about $21 million off the books. Would you pull this with that trade? Devin Harris and Josh McRoberts, though it says you can't couple Josh McRoberts with another player, for Jordan Clarkson. I think you can do it by February, but not by December 15. Yeah. So now you have Clarkson, Deng, and Randall gone, and you clear 11 plus 21, $32 million worth of cap space. And that's excluding Brook Lopez, who's at 22, Corey Brewer. So that's about 61 million cleared.
Yeah, and Pope too, because that's 1 year.
Yeah. So would you pull those two trades off? Devin Harris, Josh McRoberts for Jordan Clarkson. Tough one, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I still have a little bit of hope for Clarkson. But yeah, I mean, those things fall into place, and it makes the most sense. It makes the most financial sense because you're just cutting contracts to load up for summertime.
Yeah, I'm getting the sense that like for this season, I'm more for trades to clear cap space, especially getting rid of Deng.
Yeah.
So
well, if you had to pick one of those, so between Randall, between Clarkson and Nance Jr., who would you rather keep?
Can you give me like a micro scenario?
Well, I mean, assuming like for instance, you knew you were gonna get two big names next year. I mean, I can't. You can pick whichever ones you want. Whether it's LeBron or
Paul
George, and or who's the other?
Russell.
Yeah, I mean, you can pick whoever you want to come next year, but you're gonna get two of them. But and so, who would you pick of those between those three to stay? Like you just.
Who are the three again? Who are the three? Randall, Nance Jr., and
Clarkson and Clarkson.
Randall and Clarkson. Which one would I rather keep?
Yeah, Randall, Clarkson, or Nance Jr. Which one would you keep? The cheapest one, or is it like, Clarkson still has some value? Randall has some value.
See, here's the thing with Nance Jr. He's like a 65 regular season game player because he gets injured. Or maybe even a 70 game regular season player. So I know that's going to shorten up rotations quite a bit. And Randall, like we said, is going to be a big contract because he's going to be at least like at 12 to 16 million.
Yeah.
So the battle in my mind is salary or capability. I'd rather keep Randall.
Yeah.
I'd rather keep Randall because he has a lot of dog in him, but his dog has a lot of stubborn fucking mindedness, dude, where it's like, are you going to fucking listen, dude? You know what I mean? Are you going to fucking listen? Are you like a spillover off Bynum? Dude, don't you know you're 6'8" in the wrong fucking era? You know what I'm saying? So that's the one thing I have with Randall. It feels like if there's any knucklehead in our lineup, he's the last knucklehead or pseudo knucklehead. But right now, dude, I would love a death lineup of Ball, Paul George, Ingram, either Kuzma or Randall, and then LeBron at the 5.
Ooh.
I think I would rather depend on Randall's bullheartedness than Nance Jr.
I would just like to see how Nance Jr. works with Lonzo. I mean,
I think it'd be
physically,
easy.
assuming he still got the ups, on the either filling the lane or just kind of how he looks kind of ahead on the outlet passes, things like that. And then also just kind of passing back because Nance is really good at playing off in the offense and finding open players.
Yeah, Nance is kind of like a Shannon Brown meets a utility stretch four kind of guy,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he just needs a 3-pointer. I mean, I guess going back to your point, such a luxury, especially with Kuzma. If Nance had a 3-point shot, man, he would be definitely number one for me.
To keep.
To keep.
I was trying to do the ESPN trade machine right now. I was gonna say send Clarkson to Portland in a 3-team trade where you also send Dang to Dallas, and then Lakers could get Evan Turner from Portland. Meanwhile, Wesley Matthews goes to Portland.
Back to Portland.
I don't know if Dallas is willing to take Dang.
Cuban's not that. He doesn't like the Lakers that much.
No.
Oh yeah, that's true too. But also at the same time, if you're dumb enough to give Wesley Matthews and Harrison Barnes freaking expensive ass contracts, why not just overprice them?
That's true. So yeah, I think Randall will be like the trade watch of the season. It would just feel bad, almost to the same ilk of D'Angelo Russell, in the sense of fuck, if Randall balls out, dude, you'd be like, you have him and Nance Jr. as the luxury niche capability. Because I still feel there's room for Randall to grow.
Well, how do you feel about Zubac's future? Because now that Brook Lopez is in the picture, I feel as if Zubac is no longer seen as this potential centerpiece in the backcourt.
I see him like Caruso as a third string, like a great third string, but he really looks like a newborn giraffe with the right capabilities. The way he plays, he looks like literally. Great fucking back to the decent back to the basket. Finishes. He can finish, but it's just the wrong league. I'm watching highlights of Brook Lopez, and he looks slow. He's capable, okay?
Right.
He's capable, but he just looks slow. I'm talking about Brook Lopez, and so now, Zubats, he's a third string center to me. I like Thomas Bryant. He can, he's trying to shoot the three. His energy's high. That's the guy that you need coming off the bench, not to slow the pace down.
Yeah.
Zubac still has some tools, though. I mean, you said he has a decent back to the basket game.
Great hands.
I think, and defensively, I think, at least in the regular season last year, maybe not so much in the summer league, but I think he showed the potential last year to stand up with some of the bigs in the league and hold his own. So I don't want to count him out too much yet. I think Brook Lopez. I don't think he's gonna last. But he can shoot the 3-pointer too. So I guess that's what kind of adds to his value on the floor.
I actually like Brook Lopez a lot, especially when he plays with another big center. I think he's the guy, if you play against the JaVale McGee's, the Tyson Chandlers, maybe even give Whiteside a problem because it's you can fake a back-to-the-basket pass, go out on the three, score. That's where I think his value is, but it's so specific. Yeah. Where if you just have Bron at the 5, it's good luck, dude. Good luck chasing me. Even if Bron wasn't completely LeBron. It's good luck. Good luck. So.
Also another trade, because I remember I sent this to you guys earlier, but if Carmelo and New York are trying to get into conversations with the Houston Rockets, why not get the Lakers involved? And how about Ryan Anderson is going to the Lakers? You get Carmelo to Houston, and you send off Luol Deng to New York, and you add a few other pieces like maybe Trevor Ariza to New York or Julius Randle to New York, something like that.
Or how about this, Zach? You throw in Zubats and Nance Jr.
Yeah.
You throw those two in, and then who do we get again? Sorry, I'm fucking 41.
Ryan
dude.
Anderson.
Ryan Anderson. So you would have two slow fives. I guess you would play Ryan Anderson at the 5, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a stretch 5. But, yeah, kind of slow.
And who are we giving up?
Luol Deng and maybe Julius Randle. I mean, like, the only two pieces I could send to New York right now are Luol Deng and Trevor Ariza, and the trade will still work.
Oh.
And Ariza's on his last year. He's on a contract year, so it's like they would be willing to, like, just get rid of Carmelo for another player that's going to be gone soon, you know?
So with that, Ariza is an expiring contract, but Luol Deng is 2.5 years. So you would have to throw in like the $1 million contracts like Nance Jr. and Zubats. I feel
something like that. Yeah,
right?
Something like that.
Because
just
then
to sweeten it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So that way they can say, hey, you have Zubats, you have Nance Jr., they're serviceable. You take on Luol Deng, and then we'll give you minus $7 million next year. So basically, we're giving you 3 players for $19 million, meaning Deng, Zubats, and Nance Jr. Well, here's the thing with New York. They're arrogant, cigar-smoking, whiskey-drinking, what the fuck are you doing ran team.
Yeah.
It wouldn't, put it this way, Zach, it wouldn't shock me, and great bringing that up. It wouldn't shock me if they go, you know what? Fucking, we like Zubats. He could be a triangle player.
Him and Porzingis will work well. And we like players that, like, you could read their last name off an eye chart.
Dude, Porzingis is going to start like a fucking hostile harem in Eastern Europe because I think that dude's done with the Knicks. Just mentally done.
He's got 2 more years.
It's crazy. I mean, I could see it because of the dysfunction in the front office, but I mean, man, he's like the one thing that the Knicks could like rally around, and their fans are rallying around him. And how do you mess that up?
No, I think Melo was the one that like kind of seeded into his mind, because I know we talked about it before, but when Porzingis was trying to compliment to the media about Phil Jackson, the triangle system, like Carmelo had to pull him off to the side, and they had a private like locker room talk and pretty much say like, no, you don't compliment the person we're trying to get rid of. We hate Phil. And like he's trying to like totally brainwash him, and like sure enough, Porzingis didn't show up to the last media conference.
Wow.
See, I would rather have Porzingis or Davis playing with Paul George.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather over LeBron because, you know, they're both younger. They also fortify the bigs. You know, like as much as Brook Lopez, Zoo, Thomas Bryant, Randall, and Nance Jr. and Kuzma may, you know, sound enticing for the moment as a developing team. But if you have Anthony Davis at the 5, you're fortified at the 4 and 5s.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Definitely fortified. Porzingis, I still, he's good. He's, you know, a big drop off from Anthony Davis, that's for sure.
Yep.
But you know, he's. I think the thing about him is that he's exceeded expectations. And you know, they always talk about redrafting that year and who would you take? You know, where would Russell and Okafor fall to? You know, things like that. But I don't really think he's that good. My opinion. I don't know.
You know what it is?
Yeah,
I feel like he's a dynamic B+. That's what it is. Because you see a tall, lanky madness guy that can shoot the 3, block shots, and dunk. And ironically, those 3 things are what centers should do. With the exception to the 3, right? So that it seems like it is overhyped, but he seems to do it consistently, which is probably why it's overhyped. He doesn't do it great. But he's just consistent with it.
And I agree with Jay and your point, Charles. It's a matter of like he's 21 years old. This dude is like averaging 18 points, 7 rebounds, but it's not very like convincing fashion because look at the place where the Knicks are at. Like if he was really that well with Carmelo alongside him, and maybe if you want to say Derrick Rose, but if you want to say like with these all-stars around him, they should have made the playoffs. And they still look weak. I think he's someone that could easily get pushed over by anyone in the league.
Yeah, you're right. I think it almost feels like after this conversation or while this conversation, the bigs are now kind of like, dude, you're the mammoth elephant and the icebergs are fucking breaking.
Yeah.
Just during this conversation, we're witnessing the iceberg split. And you, hairy fucking snuffleupagus, you're dying, by the way. You're dying. That's what it feels like while having this conversation. So, I don't know. I think that's where Anthony Davis and Karl Anthony Towns separates themselves. Because it seems like they're smart enough to play the perimeter. They're smart enough to do back to the basket. But it looks like they're going beyond 20 feet now,
If you were let's say, because obviously we're the Lakers podcast, if we switched the entire like floor with Boston, so we had all those draft picks with Boston, do you think Magic would have made a move by now? Like we would have gotten one superstar this offseason?
To package with Luol Deng, yes. Absolutely. I think Magic and Rob, I give them an A+ for the summer.
Yeah. I mean, like, they already got rid of Mozgov, which was quite the accomplishment.
Yeah, and KCP, even though he shoots, he scores 2 points less than D'Angelo, and I think is 1.7 assists shorter than D'Angelo, but it seems like there's an effort more overall on the defensive end.
One-year contracts.
And fits of what the whole was filled with.
Yeah. I think it's a great point. I think he has a good attitude on the floor, more so than D'Angelo also.
Yeah, exactly. Zach, do you still have remnants of like I wish I still would have seen D'Angelo and Lonzo play?
No, not at all.
It's done, right?
Because kind of going off of what you were saying about KCP, like D'Angelo was a 2-year contract, and the fact that you got Brook Lopez, which is only 1 year, the fact that you got KCP and signed him for such an expensive contract, which my theory is if you do that with Redick or the likes of like KCP where you give them a mass contract the first year, you come back the next season and you're like, look, we're championship quality now. We paid you out, and we hope you can be loyal to us like how we were loyal to you. So please do us a favor and sign a lower contract so that way you can fit into the system of alt superstars. So I think it's a perfect situation for the Lakers right now.
Yep, I agree. Can I run by the last 3 topics before? Oh, I can't believe it's like we're at 48 minutes already. 3 more topics if you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay, this might be a long one. LeBron and Kyrie. Zach, I don't know if we have the audio on your end, but could you elaborate on the link that you found with Woj explaining the LeBron-Kyrie debacle?
Yeah. So one of the first reports that came out about this whole debacle that was supposed to like take LeBron by surprise or how he was devastated about it was the fact that Kyrie earlier or late last week asked for a trade, and it only surfaced to the media actually a week after. So meanwhile, like we were hearing reports about like, LeBron's in contact, his agent's in contact with the Lakers and everything. That was actually something where Kyrie was already planning on leaving Cleveland some way, somehow. So he asked for a trade. and ESPN with Adrian Wojnarowski. Fucking stupid ad. Adrian Wojnarowski got the first report, and he was able to deliver it. So I'm just waiting for this stupid ad to close.
Oh, okay. I have another point to add. I'm just filling in time before Zach will play the audio. Go ahead.
Yeah, right.
Where is Kyrie coming from with this trade request, Woj?
Well, guys, listen, I think the trade request is related to LeBron James, but it's not because of LeBron. And let me explain it this way. Kyrie sees a situation here where LeBron is uncommitted past 2017. That he has and there's a team around him here in Cleveland that is built to play with LeBron, to play slower, to play in the half court. The ball's not in Kyrie's hands up and down the court, playing fast. That's not how this team plays around LeBron. And if LeBron leaves in free agency, goes to LA, goes anywhere else, Kyrie's going to be left behind with a team that does not fit him. And I think what Kyrie is trying to do right now, and my sources tell me where his focus is with this trade request, is trying to be proactive with his own career. And again, and Brian said it earlier, when he signed his extension, LeBron wasn't there yet. He came in, they won a lot together. I think right now that if LeBron was committed going forward and he knew LeBron would be here, that this probably wouldn't be happening right now.
Before Jay and I react to the Woj article and then you expound, Zach, if there were 3 leaders of the universe, it would be Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bernie Sanders, and Adrian Wojnarowski. Because this motherfucker doesn't give any bad news. It's not fake news, and this guy has the info, and he times it when he knows it's the right thing. So I don't doubt, Zach, that this is probably the closest thing to what is correct. But go ahead, Zach, if you want to add more to that.
Yeah, and to your credit, like, Woj knows what to report, and like we hear some other like outside stuff. I'm not sure if it's rumors or if it's true, but like, did you send the link today about like how LeBron threatened to kick Kyrie's ass during the season?
Yep.
So it's just like when I hear that story, it's like maybe if that did happen, maybe Kyrie is acting with entitlement. Because most players, like most of the greats, we saw it with Kobe. Like Kobe would straight up like fight his own teammates, or like the infamous story of Steve Kerr when he got punched by Michael Jordan. Like the players will come back the next practice and they would squash it. And so the thing is Kyrie probably doesn't want to be LeBron's bitch. He doesn't want to be viewed like that. He doesn't like being the second fiddle. But Damian Lillard said it best. Like, why would you want to like back away from a 60-win or NBA Finals team every single year?
Yeah. Your thoughts, Jay? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no. I was really more so thinking about this in kind of the Shaq Kobe essence. I mean, it's not as personal, but it's definitely, kind of parallel. LeBron is still just that factor, especially being in the East. So, I agree. Why would you do that, especially with his contract and him having 3 years? I think the third year is the player option, but still, it's like you could be part of the finals every year, or at least another year. What's the big deal? I mean, you're still going to get paid your $20 million. I kind of just fall in that category. So, I mean, I get what Woj is saying. I just think, he just has to go through it and feel the growing pains of, that Kobe did when he started realizing that, damn, when I was playing with Shaq, that was what I always wanted.
Plus, dude, it's not like LeBron tries to eat a Snicker bar when his toe needs to be worked on. You know what I mean? Right. LeBron's putting in the effort. So in our notes, here's like, you know, we all know the accolades of Kyrie Irving in our notes. He's the Rookie of the Year, third team All-NBA in 2014, 2015. Career high 25.2 points, 11th in the NBA. NBA Finals 27.7, 8th highest in NBA history. But here's a big glaring issue with Kyrie. Allowed 0.99 points per play as a defender, and he's the second worst in NBA amongst guards. Here's the other stat. Kyrie Irving, within 3 season gaps. Without James, 3 seasons, 0 playoff appearances, 20.7 points per game. With James, 3 playoff appearances in 3 years, 1 championship, 2 championship round appearances, and averaged 22.4 points. So he's obviously better with LeBron. And, there's something about the old era of basketball, meaning like 6-7 years ago, where you have that team play of ISO, cut to the basket, fast break, 3-point, 2 kings, team basketball. I felt like that era of basketball is probably a little better as far as for variance. And Kyrie did not experience what it's like to struggle. Let's use Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant. The 2 greatest of the most recent eras, they had to go through their struggles. Yep. Within the 10-year gap, they absolutely went through the struggles. So, are you guys for trading for Kyrie if there's a particular scenario? I'm a pass. I'm a pass, though. So I want to hear what you...
Deng and Randall?
Well, yeah, I'd have to take because of the Deng contract, right? But is that coming from the hypocrite here? I'm speaking as a hypocrite. Is that something the Cavs would even entertain?
No. You're right. I mean, I'm just kind of throwing that spitball to see if there's any kind of way it's gonna stay.
No, you're right.
It's also, I guess options wise, I think we have a luxury of being able to wait, especially with the potential of Paul George in the near future. I think that's also another luxury that the Lakers have in passing on Kyrie Irving, as ridiculous as that does kind of sound. But man, it's a tough one, man. For me, at least, it's a tough pass.
My whole question is with Kyrie. Sorry, I'm gonna answer it through this question though. It's like, why did you wait until the middle of July to ask for a trade? I mean, the teams are all now set. Like pretty much you waited past 2 weeks of free agency when everyone was getting like the mass contracts and shit, and plus even the draft. So now all the teams are settled, and now like everyone's having this last hurrah where they're like getting out from they're getting out of the pool and going like, hey, get Kyrie on the phone. They're just waiting to like try to find a way to make it fit. But the thing about it is Kyrie wouldn't probably want to even come to the Lakers.
No. I mean, he specified 4 teams, right? And I think it's a case of 2 dum-dums, 2 privileged dum-dums, because I totally envision LeBron going, I haven't attended a whole summer league game in Las Vegas, but I'm going to wear a purple shirt, sit front row, and watch Lonzo Ball. Do you think that's going to throw red flags about me wanting to join the Lakers? No?
Yeah.
You don't think so? No? It's cool, right? Just wear purple, attend the only Laker game, the only summer league game, and me not wanting to commit to an extension. Is that cool? It's purple. Well, it's tie-dye purple. Yeah? You don't think so? Oh, me pointing out to the crowd when an assist was made? Oh, okay. So to me, it's a case of these two. It's almost like Kyrie is being LeBron in a sense, right? Like, hey, I'm good, so I'm gonna be privileged. So they're both tasting each other's venom almost.
Yeah, I forgot who said it, but like someone, Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd said it best. He was like, LeBron was devastated because he realized that this is the mirror of himself. Kyrie is the mirror, and he's only mocking the actions that he was doing. And LeBron is like, LeBron now is feeling what he's done to Cleveland the first time and to Miami the next time.
Well, I also want to bring up, Dan Gilbert. I mean, Dan Gilbert
he's a dipshit.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe LeBron is even feeling like, dang, he's even giving the middle finger to Gilbert before I do. I mean, because, LeBron's pretty much fulfilled his obligation to the city. He can still, hold his head up high. He can move there and live there anytime he wants. He brought them a championship. And, and if he leaves or when he leaves, it's like, all right, well, hey, Gilbert, remember that letter that you wrote and how you were going to win a championship before me and all that stuff? Well, F you, and I think Kyrie is essentially doing the same thing where why did he wait? I think it's to put the pressure on him and to you guys don't even have a GM. You don't have anything to hold the team together. There's no communication. So, I think that is kind of one of the reap what you sow kind of things where, you give the players too much power and they're going to take it. They're going to take it.
I'm going to answer in the simpleton method. You look at the calendar timeline. LeBron attends the Summer League. Oh shit, I've seen this before when I was just at Cleveland solo. He's getting ready to bounce. Oh shit, there's an article that I sent you guys where it's suspect and highly likely it's LeBron's teams that leaked the info that he requested for a trade. And then here we go, Dan Gilbert. He extends Kyle Korver to 3 years. He lets go of David Griffin. So it's just a domino of timeline calendar effect. He just saw it.
By the way, now that you're mentioning all the leaks that like LeBron likes to put out, if LeBron was Carmen Sandiego, that bitch would have been caught already. Because this dude has the worst track like that he's always left behind. Because even when he was leaving Cleveland for Miami, the imprint of the decision was all set in stone because the dude bought a hotel or like the dude rented out a hotel like the start of the week, and like I think the decision was like on a Thursday, so it's like everybody knew what the decision already was. It was like, all right, my decision is to go to Miami. Yeah, we know that. Like this dude, it leaves no mystery behind.
Dude, his wife on the way back to Cleveland was tweeting, "We're going home." That was literally the tweet. Going home, period. So he's in a way he's almost like worse than Shaq. Like, you know how Shaq will leave Phoenix and be like, oh, well, 7 seconds or less. Miami, well, I got my ring and Dwayne Wade wasn't. He's almost worse. So I've said this before privately with you guys. Dan Gilbert, I didn't mention James Dolan's name and Jim Buss. These are like rich kids who just ego first, sense for the team next. It's just they're just terrible at running a team. And honestly, boy, I wouldn't want to be a Knicks or a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. I mean, those are two really bad, dire situations.
Well, at least Cleveland had recent success, right?
Sure.
I mean, that's one thing to kind of keep your, you can ride that for a little bit.
Sure.
Knicks fans, man, those guys are like the new Boston Red Sox fans, or the new Chicago Cubs. It's like
it's a desert.
You're never gonna win. Yep.
Yeah, it's a desert. So, quick topic and then closing topic that are both interconnected. Who would you guys rather play with Paul George? Westbrook, Davis, LeBron or Cousins? For me, it would be Davis. Second, it would be LeBron. I don't want Cousins or Westbrook. How about you guys?
I would want LeBron, of course. But second would be, for me, Westbrook.
Huh? Why Westbrook?
Because, and obviously we get to see the trial demo for Laker fans, how they play together this season when OKC. But the reason why Westbrook is because I really do feel as if he needs someone to complement him, not someone that really so much like demands the ball. Because Westbrook, we already see what he's going to do. He's going to probably drive that person out of town. And I think Paul George, coming off of that terrible ACL injury that he had a few seasons ago, I think he's more of like a chill player, a laid-back player, and he's willing to do what he does, still making star decisions.
But before you answer, Jay, so who's the A, B, and C in that? Ingram, Westbrook, and Paul George. Who's the A, B, and C?
Westbrook A, Paul George B, Ingram C.
Okay. Jay, who do you prefer out of the four aforementioned potential free agents?
I would say definitely Davis, number one, and then two. It's hard to go against LeBron, because and especially the type of play. Westbrook, I would be curious just because maybe he would play differently at his natural position, which is the two, and that would be a perfect hole to throw in, Ingram and Paul George to run that small backcourt, front court, I should say, just to see how that plays. I mean, I think Lonzo is really the factor here of how the team is going to play. I mean, as the playmaker and the distributor, he's going to decide how he's essentially going to decide how Paul George ends up playing, because he's going to be handling the ball. He's going to decide whether he's passing to Ingram or George. I mean, because Magic's already kind of said, well, we expect Ingram to lead the team in scoring this year, and if he picks up, I mean, Paul George may just be more of a facilitator and play off of ball with Ingram taking the lead, assuming LeBron isn't also there.
I'm intrigued of how a pain in the ass it would be to guard Westbrook if he doesn't have ball handling duties, and Lonzo Ball is like, dude, I got it. And then you got Paul George playing the 3, Ingram at the 4. I think it would be a nightmare to guard Westbrook if he's your 2.
Yeah.
And guess who's going to guard him? The point guard, most likely, because the 2 guard is not going to be able to keep up. And I'm just going according to physical stature and height, okay? And if the point guard for the opposing team plays Lonzo, good luck running around, chasing after Westbrook. Good luck. Good luck. So that would be intriguing. But for me, I would do just having Davis there. If you have Lonzo, Paul George, Ingram, Davis at the 5, and whoever at the 4, whether if it's Kuz or Lance Jr. as a closing, that would intrigue me also. But yeah, definitely Westbrook at the 2. That would be nuts. That would be nuts. And closing question and opinion. I know it's only rumors, but Melo to OKC. Does that scare you guys in keeping Paul George in OKC? Because he's going to go like, dude, they managed to grab me. I got Melo. Maybe I like this front office. Does that scare you guys?
Because no, I think if Melo does go to OKC, then he's going to be like, well, I'm next to one black hole, but it's not really that bad of a black hole. He's at a distance. It's Russell Westbrook. But this other black hole is for sure going to take up the rest of my time, or like anything that I'm trying to do or contribute to this team. And I think that's why if Carmelo does go to Houston, that's why they're set up to fail. Melo at this point is just a big name.
Jay?
Wow. I don't think that's gonna to block anything with regards to Paul George. I mean, the only way that would happen is, an injury to a key Warrior player or two, and Oklahoma somehow getting to the finals and possibly winning the finals. I don't see it. I don't think Melo is that type of player that's gonna to keep players, keep players in the team that he's on. So if they want to go ahead and get Melo, I think it's the wrong move. I think it's the right, maybe the right kind of thought in like getting a big name, but I think that's the wrong guy. So that I think we will still end up with Paul George.
By the way, the only time I've ever seen Carmelo play defense was when he was guarding Kevin Durant when the two were going up for the scoring title in 2013. Because his butt was on the line. He was like, I need to fucking win this title.
Right.
He had to guard Kevin Durant in OKC, and that was some of the best defense I've ever seen him play, man-to-man. So
Yeah, and that's really selfish because that's the only NBA defense you played aside from the Olympics. That's it?
Yeah.
That's it? That's it, Melo? That's it? So, Dunzo, I lied. One last question. One more question. So, D-Rose is now signed with Cleveland. So, do you stick with Magic's thought of like, hey, we need a backup veteran point guard? Or do you go with like what people are saying, like Clark, Kanan, which I've never seen play, or Tyler Ennis? Who would you guys sign? In general,
I like Clark. He's got experience. He can make the outside shot, and as long as it wasn't a long-term deal, I think you got to go with that guy. He's the got the most experience.
part of me is biased for Tyler Ennis because ever since he was a rookie, I would use him for NBA 2K. But I would have to say, like, Clark is the right decision.
Yeah, because I agree with you guys. Wait, but Jay said Clark first, and then Zach, you're kind of like half and half, about 60-40?
No, I would say my heart says Ennis, but my mind says Clark.
Oh, okay. I don't see any other veteran point guards. I mean, Ronnie Price, why bring him back? He doesn't do shit. I don't see any other veteran point guards, so it's going to have to be mentorship under Magic. And I'm truly split between Ennis and Clark. I'm going to say Clark first, Ennis second. And the reason why with Ennis is he's a little bit familiar with the system. He wants to be back, and he played decent, though, as a losing team. You know,
like when they were supposed to tank, like he actually did well, and they were winning games under him.
Yeah. So, I guess it's a three-way agreement. Also, Clark first, Ennis would be my second. I've never really paid attention to Kanan, so don't know. I think we took like a 3-week break, so here's an hour, almost 15 minutes of Lakers talk for you guys. Please follow us at Plug12 PLUGONETWO. You can find us on SoundCloud, Instagram, YouTube. We have tons of basketball and societal and cultural commentary, radio stuff for you guys. And, you know, we're really spanning the globe from LA to Manila, Lakers Nation, Philippines. Signing off with Jay Villa and Zach Alcalde. This is your guy, Charles. Thanks.